The Micah Mess. Why your useful God is no God at all. My friends, I want you to lean in and listen closely, because we are diving into a portion of the record that most people want to skip over. We are going to the book of Judges, and we are looking at a situation that is a perfect mirror for the chaos we see in our modern culture. It is a story about a man named Micah from the hill country of Ephraim. But before we get into the specifics of this man, you have to understand the environment. You have to understand the backdrop. The tribe of Dan was being absolutely bullied by the world. The Amorites were crowding them into the mountains and refusing to give them any space, any freedom, or any access to the holy places. This is exactly what happens when the people of God allow the world to dictate the terms of their existence. When you let the secular culture crowd you into an awkward corner, you start making bad decisions. You are isolated, you are frustrated, and you start looking for a workaround to the rules that the Creator actually established. The Danites could not get to the proper place of worship, and out of that vacuum of leadership comes the Micah mess. It is a social disaster born of compromise. Micah goes to his mother and makes a confession. He says, "Hey, remember those 1,100 shekels of silver that were stolen from you? The ones you were cursing about? Well, I have them. I took them." Now, in any functioning society with a shred of moral fiber, a mother would be looking for a way to discipline her son for theft. But we are talking about an era where every man did what was right in his own eyes. She does not rebuke him. She blesses him. She takes that stolen, cursed money and says, "I'm dedicating this to the Lord so you can make a graven image." Wait a minute, folks. Do you see the absolute absurdity of this? She wants to honor the Creator by breaking the very first rules He ever gave. She takes 200 shekels, gives it to a silversmith, and they make a molten image. Micah sets up a house of gods right there on his property. He makes the vestments. He makes the household idols. And then he goes a step further and consecrates his own son to be his priest. It is boutique religion. It is a customized, do-it-yourself faith where you pick and choose the parts you like and ignore the parts that are inconvenient. He wants the benefits of the heritage without the burden of the truth. He wants a useful God that he can keep in his pocket and use whenever he feels like it. Then comes the professional talent. A young man from Bethlehem shows up. He is a Levite, which means he is from the tribe set apart for the service of the Almighty. But this young man has wandering feet and an itching palm. He is looking for a place. Translated into modern language, that means he is looking for a career path with a good benefits package and a bit of social recognition. Micah sees him and thinks he has hit the lottery. He says, "Stay here and be a father and a priest to me. I will give you 10 shekels of silver a year, a new suit of clothes, and all your food." The Levite looks at the offer, he looks at the idols, and he says, "Where do I sign?" He is content to sell his high calling for 10 shekels and a shirt. He is a professional religious worker, my friends. He's not serving the truth. He is serving Micah's ego. And Micah is sitting there with a smug look on his face thinking, "Now I know things will go well for me because I have a real professional in my house." It is the ultimate example of a transactional relationship with the divine. Micah thinks the Creator is a vending machine, and the Levite is the coin you drop in to get the results you want. It is a convenient, expedient version of faith that is alive and well in our streets today. Let's talk about the ruling philosophy of our time. It is called Pragmatism. You know the drill. If it works, it must be true. If it succeeds, it must be good. We judge everything by the statistics and the metrics. If the building is full and the bank account is overflowing, we assume everything is fine. But if we use that test, some of the greatest men in history were total failures. Take Noah, for instance. He was a great shipbuilder, sure, but as a communicator of truth, he was a disaster by modern standards. 120 years of warning people, and he only saved his own family. 7 converts in over a century? Most organizations today would have cut his funding and sent him to a marketing seminar after the first 5 years. Look at Jeremiah. The man was a statistical zero. He lost out with the public, he lost out with the politicians, and even the professional religious guilds of his day wanted nothing to do with him. He pleased nobody but the source of truth. By the standards of a success-driven culture, he is a failure. And then you have the ultimate example. The Lord Jesus Christ was a signal failure according to the criteria of this world. He never organized a formal denomination. He never built a university. He did not establish a massive global headquarters. After 3 years of work, when the pressure was applied, every single person abandoned him. One of his top lieutenants denied him 3 times before the sun came up. By every standard of our generation, the ending of that story looks like a total collapse. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: what is your standard of success? And is the Creator an end in himself, or is he just a means to an end for you? You have to decide very early in your walk whether you are looking for the truth or just looking for a suit of clothes. Our generation is prepared to honor anyone who gets results, regardless of their character or their motives. As long as it is working, we say, well, you have to respect the hustle. But that is the mindset of a hireling. That is the mindset of a man who is for sale for 10 shekels and a shirt. The Levite was looking for security. He was looking for acceptance. He was looking for a place where he could shine and be recognized. He sold himself to Micah, and then later on, when the tribe of Dan came along and offered him a bigger platform with more people to impress, he jumped ship without a second thought. He was flexible. He was adaptable. He could rationalize anything as long as the check cleared and the wardrobe was updated. He held his hand over his mouth while they stole Micah's furniture because he was already looking at the next promotion. There is an infection in our thinking, and it is a subtle one. It is the idea that the entire point of existence is the happiness of man. We have been told that the reason we are here is to be comfortable, to be satisfied, and to have our needs met. This idea has penetrated our thinking so deeply that we don't even notice it anymore. It is like a fog that covers everything. In the mid-19th century, when people started attacking the foundations of faith, the response was to try and make faith more appealing by making it more useful. One group said, "We don't know about the future, but we can make your life better right now. We can give you some rules and some poetry to make your 70-year trip more comfortable. We will put some shock absorbers on your wagon so the bumps of life don't hurt as much." That is a hollow promise. It is just trying to put sugar in a cup of bitter coffee. But then you have the other group that claims to be more traditional. They say, "We believe the book," but their appeal is still to the ego. They say, "Follow this plan so you can get what you want. Follow this plan so you can avoid trouble." Do you see the common thread? The focus is still on you. It is an appeal to selfishness. It is a transactional deal where you give a little bit of your time and a little bit of your money in exchange for a sense of security. This is what I call the 10-shekel religion. We use the provisions of the divine as a way to improve our own human condition. We treat the ultimate sacrifice as if it were a cosmic insurance policy that allows us to keep living exactly how we want. I remember the story of a man who went to a distant land because he wanted to fix the problems he saw in the world. He was motivated by a sense of humanitarian duty. He saw the suffering and the funerals and the pain, and he wanted to be the hero who solved it. But when he arrived, he realized the people were not just waiting for a hero. They were in active, defiant rebellion against the truth they already knew. They did not want to be fixed. They loved their choices, and they wanted to stay right where they were. He became frustrated. He felt like he was wasting his life. But in a moment of clarity, he realized he had gone for the wrong reason. He had gone for the sake of the people, which is just another form of humanism. The truth hit him that he was not sent for the sake of the people. He was sent for the sake of the one who called him. The question was not whether the people deserved his help, but whether the one who suffered for them deserved the reward of his sacrifice. That changes the entire equation. It stops being about your success or your comfort and starts being about the honor of the one who is worthy. Now, I want to give you a challenge that is going to be very uncomfortable for some of you. Most of the people listening to my voice are trying to use the divine to fix their problems. You want help with your finances, you want help with your stress, or you want help with your reputation. You are like a man pulling up to a station and saying, "Fill me up with that high-octane power so I can go out and run my own program." But the truth is not a fuel for your ambition. If you want the real presence of the Creator in your life, you have to get out of the driver's seat. You have to take the keys, walk to the back of the car, open the trunk, hand the keys over, and then get in the trunk yourself. You close the lid and you say, "You drive. Go wherever you want, take as long as you want, and do whatever you want with the vehicle. I am just the passenger." That is the level of surrender that the world cannot understand. Are you willing to serve even if you never get the suit of clothes? Are you willing to be faithful even if you never get the recognition? We need to be done with this utilitarian version of faith that treats the Almighty like a tool in our belt. We need to resign from the house of Micah. We need to tell the world that we are not for hire for 10 shekels or 10 million. We need to cast ourselves down and say that we will obey simply because He is worthy of our obedience. Not because of what we get out of it, but because of who He is. I know that is a hard word. I know that in a world obsessed with self-actualization, the idea of total surrender sounds like a defeat. But here is the encouragement I have for you. When you finally stop trying to use the truth for your own ends, you actually start to experience the power of the truth. When you stop chasing happiness as the goal, you find a peace that surpasses anything the world can offer. Look at the history of the brave souls who went before us. There were 2 young men long ago who heard about an island where thousands of people were living in darkness because a cruel owner would not allow any messengers of truth on the property. These 2 young men, in the prime of their lives, sold themselves into lifetime slavery to that owner. They used the money from their own sale to pay for their passage to that island. They knew they would never come back. They knew they would never have a career or a family or a name for themselves in this world. As their ship left the harbor, their friends and family were standing on the pier, weeping because they knew it was a final goodbye. One of those young men shouted across the water, and his words have echoed through the centuries. He cried out, "May the Lamb that was slain receive the reward of his suffering." That is the standard. That is the heartbeat of a life that has been set right. When you live for the reward of the one who gave everything, the 10 shekels and the fancy clothes start to look like the dust that they really are. I want you to take a long look in the mirror today. I want you to ask yourself if you are a hireling looking for a comfortable place, or if you are a servant looking for the glory of your master. Are you making deals or are you making a sacrifice? The world has enough people doing what is right in their own eyes. What we need are people who are willing to see through the eyes of the truth. All right, my friends, we have come to the end of our time today. I have laid it out for you exactly as it is, without any of the fluff or the excuses. I hope it shakes you up. I hope it makes you rethink your priorities and your motives. If you value this kind of unfiltered look at the reality of our condition, then you know what to do. Like this, subscribe to the channel and share it with someone who is tired of the superficial nonsense they are being fed every day. Let's commit to growing together in a way that actually honors the standard. Thank you for spending this time with us. Be strong, be faithful, and stay focused on what actually matters. Thanks again for joining us, and we will talk again soon.